Hello out there. It's Crime and Wine. This is Pamela Fagan Hutchins without your normal musical intro today because I am not a technical genius, it turns out. Sometimes technology works and sometimes it doesn't. Today, I've got a great show for you. Before we start that show, I do want to shamelessly mention that I'm 2 weeks into a 3-book release. I don't normally do this, but Her Silent Bones is the first book in the Detective Delaney Pace series, and I'm super excited about the reviews and about you guys reading it. So I wanted to give it a shout out before I give a shout out to my special guest today. My special guest is, like myself, a former attorney. She's the author of scads of wonderful books, women's fiction, suspenseful books, and very touching books, 2 of which have been made into film. With no further ado, please help me welcome Barbara Hinske.
Hey, Pamela, thank you for having me on, and I cannot wait to. It's Her Silent Bones.
Her Silent Bones.
That's a great title.
Thank you. I did not come up with it. Oh gosh, my Boston Terrier is going to snore in the background. Everybody just pretend that pretend he's quiet. He comes in when I do a podcast. He knows I'm on it, and he positions himself at my feet. I cannot get him to leave. My husband has tried to pick him up and take him before, and he goes bananas. He's into this. So anyway, my publisher came up with it. I pretty much just showed up and wrote the book, and they did the rest. It was beautiful.
Perfect.
But I am so excited to have you on the show. You and I have been friends now for a year, I guess, since we got connected with some book groups on Facebook.
Yes, my book friends and some others, and it's just been lovely. Yeah, a fellow recovering lawyer.
So had you always wanted to be an attorney? I mean, a writer, and were stuck in the law, or did you love the law and it just so came to be that you could do both and then leave one for the other?
You know, I don't know as I really thought I could write. I was always, I've changed around a little. I started my professional life as an industrial engineer.
Oh, wow.
And then did engineering for 5 years, then went to law school after I divorced my first husband and looked at his lawyer, my lawyer, and the judge and thought, I could do this. It sounds kind of snotty, but and talked to my mother, who had worked as a legal secretary for her working career. And she said, oh, yeah, you could totally be a lawyer. So off to law school I go. And I worked primarily in corporate law for almost 40 years.
Oh, wow.
And enjoyed it. Loved my jobs. But in 2010, I broke my neck in a car accident and had double vision that plagued me for 12 years. But at any rate, I had upper body injuries. I'm in one of those horrid neck braces, and I couldn't watch TV or do computer or any of that stuff because I had double vision, but I could walk. So I would walk like 3 hours just around my little HOA complex. And I kept thinking, I really would like to write a book. My dad wrote whodunits when he retired, never tried to get them published, but they were kind of good. And I always thought maybe when I retire, I'll edit them and then we'll get them, self-publish them or something. And I remember one day distinctly hearing my dad's voice saying, Barb, write your own book, write your own story. So I came up with a story and that started it. I wrote Coming to Rosemont, the first one, and thought, I'll publish it, self-publish it, because I'm too old to try and get an agent. I'll never live long enough to do that. Which turns out not to be the case, but nonetheless, thank goodness. So I self-published it, thought I'd sell 35 books to families and friends, and that would be it. But you know what? It just took off.
I love it.
And so then I kept writing and doing this and really loved everything about it. And finally, right before the first Hallmark movie was filmed, like literally the day before we flew to be on set, I retired from the practice of law because I decided, okay, I can do this. I'm not going to be penniless and living in a van down by the river. So I did.
You've done some courageous pivots in your life, woman.
Well, I've done some pivots. Yeah, some have been forced on me, like breaking my neck. And
well, that's true. That's not a good one.
Yeah, that's not a good one. But sometimes we need that big push to go in a different direction. And I'm so glad I retired and did that because I really love the writing life, except when social media and technology are driving me mad. Everything else is lovely.
We were talking about that before we actually came on the air live with you guys, that it's like, on the one hand, it enables a lot of what we as authors do. And
Yeah.
on the other hand, it makes us nuts.
Yeah.
It's crazy making. That's for
It
sure.
is, it's out of your control. And, all of us like to control things.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, we do. Well, the series that I've read Guiding Emily, and I've read your Rosemont series, and so we're really here today. We kind of planned we would talk about your latest Rosemont book, When Dreams There Be, but we can really talk about anything that we want to. So just know that off the bat, that the sky is the limit, or the vista is wide open for our conversation. But tell, for those of the people that are joining in, like for instance, I see a couple of the commenters are people that may not know you, but I know me because they come to my show. So tell them a little bit about the series, if you could, for starters.
Okay. I will. So my two main series, the Rosemont series, which is the first one, talks about a woman, 55-year-old woman, whose husband dies suddenly. That's bad. After he's dead, she finds out that he was embezzling from the college he was president of. That's worse. And then she finds out he had a separate family in Scottsdale, Arizona, which is really bad.
That's really bad.
But she finds out that he had inherited this stately manor home in the Midwest called Rosemont. Well, okay. So now that he's gone, she's got this mansion. Well, that isn't so bad. She thinks, well, I'm gonna, I live in California. I'm a forensic accountant. I got a practice here. I got kids here. I'm just gonna sell that place. But she flies there to see what it is, because it's like, who is this man I was married to for 20 plus years, 30 plus years, who I didn't know? And she wants answers. Well, she walks in the house, the door closes behind her, and she feels like she is home. That experience happened to me in my own home, where I live now with my husband. We walked in, it wasn't abandoned, it was vacant, it was a short sale, it was a historic home, great big home. And the home behind me is just a background. That's not my real home. But anyway, the door closed behind us, and we're like, oh my God, I think we're going to make an offer. We had not even looked at the house yet. But I had driven by this house for 30 years and lusted after it from the outside. So that maybe makes a little less kooky. And we did. We bought the house. So I based the Rosemont series loosely on a lot of political corruption. I've always have some sort of crime. As a lawyer, I'm attracted to crime. What can we say? Yeah. Love me some crime. So on municipalities that have had all kinds of embezzlement and fraud going on, I read endlessly on websites and looked at city council meetings to see all the kind of stuff that went on. So I put fraud and embezzlement in the Rosemont series in the first books, and finally wrapped that up, with a murder and some arson and some stuff along the way.
You like you some crime.
Some cold cases. But I am also endlessly fascinated by stuff that you would find in an attic. There are those shows where they find stuff. And I have an old house in attics and vents, and I'm always looking for stuff. Haven't found anything with anything valuable. But I have this great attic in Rosemont. So there has been hotel and vintage silver that they've sold, and Hudson River Valley painters. And in another venue, there was a Van Cleef's and Arpels brooch that was found that led to the solving of a cold case murder earlier. So I'm just always kind of thinking about, and there's going to be a rare stamp, actually based on something in my own family, because my dad's business was selling stamps to collectors.
Yeah.
And my brother and I found the stamp that we'd always heard about taped under his desk, under the drawer, under the bottom of the desk.
Oh, wow.
And it was in an glassine envelope. Thank God my brother took the drawer out and found it. It's in very poor shape. It's a Canadian stamp from the 1800s, and there are only 2 in existence.
Oh my goodness.
So we're trying to, that's not my retirement plan, but if it can be validated, it will it will be nice. It will find its way into the book, but it'll get in there fictionally anyway. So I'm always thinking about that kind of stuff. I just can't stop myself from putting somebody. Oh, I had a rare book librarian in the later books in the Rosemont series. Her cool
Yeah.
name, Sunday Sloan, my favorite character's name, Sunday Sloan, rare book librarian, smart and sexy and fun. And the prior librarian got murdered, and so she ends up in 2 books getting that solved. I don't know.
I
So
love it. So you weave things. Well, personally, that I love old houses. We get to go in and we get to fix up an old house. We get to delve into its history. We get to have crime. We get to solve crime, and we get to vanquish a bad, relationship from our lives all over the course of how many books are there now in it?
there are now 9.
9. Oh my
There
gosh.
are 9. I do introduce in one of them, actually it was in a Halloween story I wrote and put on my website, a ghost, a butler, a former butler from Rosemont. And I just did it as a funny Halloween giveaway story on my website. And so I'm going to start book 10 sometime, hopefully before the middle of the year. I said, who do you want to return? And everybody's like, bring back Alistair the ghost. So, and I do like him because he's not a bad ghost. He's a mischievous ghost. He's a nice ghost. Oh, and I always have dogs.
Yeah.
Got to have me some dogs and cats.
Now, in real life, are there dogs in your home?
Oh yeah. You can't hear them snoring. They're not as good a snorer as your dog, but I've got a dachshund. I've got rescue dogs. I've got a dachshund mix and a lab Aussie mix who are, they've got their big memory foam beds in the floor in front of my desk. And that's where we spend our day.
Your co-writers. They're your co-writers.
They are my co-writers. Absolutely.
So we've had a question from a reader. Would you think of Where Dreams There Be as contemporary fiction, women's fiction, suspenseful women's fiction, thriller? How would you categorize it?
I would categorize them as women's fiction with a little touch of mystery, thriller, and suspense.
Yeah. That's what I would too, having read them. And I think there's such a great market for that because a lot of contemporary thriller is written and it's not very character focused. It's pretty crime focused. And
right.
I think that there's a lot of us that we like the feels. We like the feels. We like the old houses and the things in the attic. We've also have a question. Does the Rosemont series need to be read in order?
I've tried to make it so it does not. Okay. Probably let's see, When Dreams There Be. Oh, no, there's a Christmas one, No Matter How Far, which I wrote as a novella. That's number 8.
Okay.
That would be one that you could pick up and just get a quick idea of my writing style.
You mentioned the freebie for Halloween with the butler ghost. Are any of these what I think of as reader magnets? I don't know what to call them, but free books for people that want to subscribe to your series if they go to your website?
Yes.
So hold on, I'm gonna put that on the screen for those of you that are watching that on video, barbarahinske.com. You can get a taste of the Rosemont series free by going and picking what sounds to be one of our most popular characters, the ghostly butler.
The sweet butler. And of course, there's always on Amazon, there's always the sample that you can read from the front of the book.
Are these Kindle Unlimited? Are they?
Kindle
Unlimited.
I've got all my stuff in Kindle Unlimited. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so now that brings us up to the most recent book, Where Dreams There Be. And so what new happens in our forensic accountant / mayor / house restorer / historian's life?
Well, after I wrote it as a 5-book series and I thought, okay, good, we're done. And then it was so popular and my editor said, what is wrong with you? People want you to write why aren't you writing another book? And I'm like, well, I don't want it to be so samey that, so I pivot her. And Maggie, you know, her late husband, the bad one, she marries somebody else now, but the bad one was a college president, and she had been the wife of a college president for years. So she ends up becoming the president of a um, private university where in the town where she is. So now she's got a college president, and that's why she's got, you know, a big library and rare book crime and all that kind of stuff. So now she's a college president. So I'm kind of pivoting her there. And then my bad guy in the beginning of the books, I love a redemptive character arc. Who doesn't love?
Who doesn't love that?
Who doesn't love that? So I do have a character that is Frank Haynes, who has been redeemed, and now he's a wonderful stepdad and a father of twins. And in that book, he goes through male menopause. And I always like to shine the light on something that maybe we haven't talked about a lot.
Yeah, that's great.
I learned a lot about that. I've also learned since I published it how many people have had husbands who've gone through.
So you're hearing from readers.
Yeah, from here is legit male menopause. And it's not, you know, it's one of those things that's not very often diagnosed, not treated well. It's kind of like, oh, what's your problem? You didn't have the baby. Cheer up.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
like any of those things, it doesn't work that way.
Right.
That's not how we help each other. We don't help each other by saying, oh, this isn't a problem. This isn't a real problem you have.
Yeah. It's all in your head.
It's all in your head. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that you did that. And so he's going through his travails. And am I wrong that there's also a guiding dog, a seeing eye dog guide subplot going on in this book, which I love. This is bringing us kind of full circle back to the Guiding Emily, but yes.
It is. And so I wrote my Guiding Emily series about, the first one, Guiding Emily, is about Emily Main, who loses her eyesight on her honeymoon. So she's a young woman, newly blind. And also there's a puppy who then becomes a guide dog. And at the end, their love story is the two of them coming together, which is based upon a lot of research. And now I've got a fifth one in that series coming out. But I've learned so much about puppy raising and guide dogs and visually impaired people and all of that. So I have a young man character in my Rosemont series who gets in trouble as a young man when his father commits suicide. And a dog is just caring for this dog, and the love of a dog is this young boy's redemption. So as he gets older, he's like, I want to have a guide dog school. And that's actually a college course, is how to train guide dogs. And so
that's cool. I didn't
embarking on that, and he's going to found a guide dog school in the town where Rosemont is. So I keep thinking I'm going to now have some crossover between characters between the two books, because I can't not write about that.
Yeah, I love that. And I find that my readers really enjoy the Easter eggs, you know, when you cross over between series and somebody they really love but maybe didn't expect to shows up, and it's just the wonderful feeling. We have another question, and this is, do you always find writing inspiration from something or someone in your life, or is it a product completely separate from what inspires you in the real world?
No, it's usually something that inspires me in the real world. And sometimes it's from something that I've read in the paper or a story. I've had some of the story arcs in the second Rosemont, Weaving the Strands. I write about a romance between octogenarians in a nursing home. And it's sweet, and it's based upon a real New York Times article that I wrote. So I fictionalized it, and it just made me feel so good. Yeah.
And I like to feel good. And here's someone saying that who just got through writing a series that's pretty dark. But I want to go on the record as saying that if you've read it, there's plenty of reasons to feel good in this series too. But I like to feel good, and I like reading things that make me feel good. Well, Barbara, this brings us to the part of this interview that we call the speed round. And yay! And we compare us as listeners, viewers, me, podcaster, over time, the answers that we get from people to some of the same questions. Not always the same questions, but some of the same. Are you ready?
I'm ready. That's
All right.
fun.
Okay. So, what is your favorite place that you've traveled to or lived in?
Well, probably I haven't lived in either of these. I would like to. I love all three. I love New York City. I
Uh-huh.
love Charleston, South Carolina, and I love Victoria, British Columbia for different reasons.
Oh, those such very
Um,
different cities, but I love.
yes.
I love Victoria for its.
Oh my gosh.
It's just beautiful.
It's just beautiful.
In Charleston, I could just eat there forever.
That is unfortunate, but that's exactly what I would do. And I love Broadway. I love going
Yeah.
to Broadway plays, and if
Yeah.
I had a cajillion dollars, I would love to live in New York, but it would take a cajillion
Yeah,
dollars.
it would. And so would having a house in all three places, but
Well,
dream.
yeah. Yes, it would. I was only in Victoria once this summer for filming of the Guiding Emily movie, and we spent a week at this gorgeous mansion where they had, her Emily's mother's house. And I'm like, just pretending this is my house, right on the ocean and all this kind of stuff. Yeah.
I went there when I guess my first child was about 1, and we did the killer whale boats, and we went out on kayaks to see
Yeah.
the seals and the sea lions, and it was just such. It was cold, but it was
Oh,
such
yeah.
great sea life and so green and beautiful in the old Victorian houses and mansions and things. It was really
Yeah.
okay. So next question:
Yeah.
sushi or pizza?
Oh, pizza.
Pizza. Okay.
Pizza for me.
Then you
Love pizza.
then you can eat at my house. Plotter or pantser?
Oh, I'm a plotter.
I
Yeah.
thought you would be. Me
Are
too.
you?
I am
Yeah.
until I can't take it anymore, and then I just go off in a direction that I regret and have to go back to my outline and do it again.
Yes.
So
Been there, done that. Yeah.
never goes well.
Yeah.
And are you? Do you have a particular writing outfit? What are you wearing when you write your best?
When I write my best, I would be in sweats in the winter or, comfy, or joggers, a t-shirt. If I'm putting on the dog, I'll put on a necklace, but I'm not a fancy kind of gal.
I've got on my Taylor Swift bookcase sweatshirt
I
today.
love that.
It's her albums as books, since
Oh,
they all
that's
tell stories. There you
really
go.
cool.
So now it's happy hour. What are you ordering at happy hour, or what is Maggie ordering at happy hour? You can pick either one of you and order a drink for you.
Oh, what is Maggie ordering? She might be ordering a little glass of white wine.
I was thinking.
Yeah, probably a little glass of white wine. I would honestly, I don't drink. I don't like the taste of alcohol. I never have. So I would be ordering a Diet Coke. I'm not very fashionable at happy hour. But I can get in. I can get myself into some appetizers. I
Yeah.
love a garden board. I love hummus and all that stuff.
I want to save most of my calories for the food too, although I do
Yeah.
like grapefruit juice. All
Yeah.
right.
Ooh,
So
yeah.
you win the lottery. The first 5 things you spend your winnings on would be 5 or thereabouts.
I would pay off my house. I would make a $2 million donation to the Foundation for Blind Children because that's one of my life goals. I'm made progress on that because I donate half my royalties from Guiding Emily to the foundation, but I'm not close to 2 million.
That's wonderful.
I would buy a house in Victoria if the Canadian government would let me. Right now, there's a prohibition on that. I would, not necessarily in this order, I would establish a trust fund for my grandchildren and children's education. And I would probably donate to some of the seeing eye organizations.
I love that. So you guys have, I'm sure, gotten a good flavor from this about Barbara. First of all, huge heart. Huge heart. Second of all, very smart woman who's very accomplished. And third, has written books that we want to read. So I'm recommending, I'm going to get the website back up on the page here, that you guys go out and start by checking out her website. Is there any other place you'd really like to direct people to go to learn more about you or your books? Or
I think other than the website, I'm on Facebook at B Hinske, and Amazon. I'm on Amazon, so you can really find out about the books there. You can find out more about me personally on Facebook and on my website.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming today so much. It was
Thank
lovely to
you.
have you. And thank you for putting up with the dog. I'm giving him a dirty look. The dog.
So cute. Nothing more comforting.
I think that he is great. We have a reader that's saying thank you. So I'll say
Thank
it
you.
back. Thank you, readers, very much. You're the reason that we're able to write. You're the reason that we're able to come on and talk to you. There's nobody in the more in the world that we love more than readers who love books. I think we count ourselves as one of those too. So we'll always goodbye to Barbara now, and I'll do the wrap up of the show that's boring and she doesn't have to sit through. So thank you again.
Thank you so much. Bye, everybody. Have a nice evening.
Oops, I hit that too soon. Literally, she was still talking. That's how good I am at this today, you guys. I actually really bad at this today. So the things that I have to do at the end of the show: Crime and Wine is copyrighted by Authors on the Air Global Radio Network, a digital media corporation with over 4 million viewers and listeners in 153 plus countries. You can find my books in ebook, paperback, hardcover, large print, and audiobooks. Ask your library or bookstore to order them if you want to go that route, or you can find them anywhere online. And you can watch past shows. You can see my upcoming show schedule and prep by reading the books that those authors are coming to talk about by going to my website, PamelaFaganHutchins.com. That is all I have for you guys today. I really appreciate you being here with me, especially as I was technically uncoordinated by you guys. Go read a good book.